Hi and welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this video we're going to show you how to hide these ugly wireless modules so that you can maintain the aesthetics and looks on your Super NES Classic Edition. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions, and if you've seen any of our videos involving the Super NES Classic Edition, you know I'm a huge fan of it. One of the things I didn't like about it was the fact that I thought the wired controllers, the cord was way too short. Well, an easy solution, a number of companies have now come out with wireless controllers. You have the Yok controller that you can get at a GameStop. You have the Nyko, the Super Megaboss. You have any of the 8-bit DOE type controllers, and they all work great with the Super NES Classic Edition. What I don't like about them is the fact that they've got this huge dongle that hangs out of the front of the system. I'm going to show you just in a very few simple steps how you can take these, open up your system, and hide them inside. That way you keep the aesthetics and the look of the original Super Entertainment System, such as this bad boy right here. So it'll just kind of look like this whenever you're playing. Let's get started. So before we get started with modding our console, there's a few things you're going to need. Obviously a Super NES Classic itself. You'll need the dongle for whatever controller you're going to use. This is the one off of the Yok Turbo controller that I have. This is off the Nyko Megaboss. And you will need a Phillips head screwdriver. This is a this is a single zero Phillips head screwdriver from E-Flight. The final thing that you're going to need is either an X-Acto knife or some type of like sharp pointed object. So to start, the first thing we have to do is remove the 4 feet from the underside of your control deck, because that's how the screws are kept hidden. And I'm going to take these. I've actually got a pretty long thumbnail so I can get under it, but if you don't, that's where having, you know, a knife such as this, you can kind of get under one of the corners and pop it up. Like I say, I was having decent success with my thumbnail until I just said that. I would normally use like a hobby knife or an X-Acto knife for something like this. I just have all of that stuff is buried right now. And just be careful, like you can see that I'm peeling it back. You know, I'm running my finger across the top of the blade so that I don't cut myself. Alright, so I have the 4 feet set aside for now. And now, thankfully, these are not security bits. These are just regular Phillips blade screws, although, yep, and a 00 would probably work a little bit better than just the 0 size that I'm using now. But actually, that's a pretty nice fit. So yeah, you could use either a 0 or a 00 size. We're going to pop these all out. Now that all 4 screws are out, we need to separate the 2 halves of the case. So first I'm going to pop this forward just to alleviate any issues that may cause. And it just lifts apart. Now, I've actually never opened this up before, but looking at the top down, what we need to do is we'll undo those 2 screws, and then this will pop out so that we can put it inside the casing. Now that slides right out, and now we have access to our controller ports, which I'm going to lay one over here, and I'll move one over here. I'm going to set this whole thing aside for now because now I need to do some minor surgery on our dongles, and this is the one off of the Nyko Megaboss. So I'm going to undo the screws here and essentially remove it from its casing. Be very gentle here, you don't want to break this. Now on the Nyko Megaboss, I actually have to pry these pins out of the plastic so that I can get them, or get this out of the housing here. And there it's out. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put this back together and just start threading the screws in so that I keep everything together in the event that I do want to pull it back out of the casing. I'm going to slide my system back over here, and I'm going to plug this very carefully back into here. And now I'm going to lay it down on the side right about there. I should have plenty of clearance. I'm not hitting where any of the screws would come up. And now with the yoke one, it actually looks like I've got a little bit more room on that side. Plug that in. Can I fit it in there? Can I? That may be too tall, but we'll find out here. Now if I wanted to, and actually I will do this, I'm going to put the holder for the controller ports back in and then just screw them back into place too. So it's all starting to take shape again. The main thing again on the yoke adapter here is I don't know if I'm going to have the clearance to put that in there, but it's going to be real tight. I may have to route it further back and like have it sitting up there. We'll see. And we'll see. This is where it's going to be the trickiest, just trying to get everything together. And no, as you can see, it's definitely too tall. For at least right now, I'm going to pop this one out. You know what? Let's see here if I can pop it off real quick. There we go. Perfect. So take that one, plug that one in. Now one thing of note on both of these adapters is they don't have a push button to pair it to the controller. The 8-bit dongles do, which could make this installation a little bit of a challenge, especially if you like to use your controllers on different systems or rebind them or pair them to other systems. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one out. I'm going to put the yoke one on player 1, and there we go. I think I'll actually have a little bit more room on that side with that, and there's definitely more room over here for the mini boss, the Super Mini Boss dongle. Oh, that fits a lot better. Okay. And again, it's kind of a tight fit in here. You know what? I may be able to just lay it this way. You're going to have to do quite a bit, not quite a bit, but some trial and error just to kind of see where you can fit your boards in here so that you're not obstructing anything and it all fits properly. And I think that's too tall. Can we get it down in there? What would help here too, a little bit of double-sided tape just to kind of keep everything down. Get the case back in place. Make sure all your wires are inside the case. And see, this one's being a bit of a pain. Here we go. Back together. You can see nothing there. Now I can put the screws back in. The last screw in, I can go and grab my feet and put them back in. You want to make sure that you are not putting the feet sticky side down when you take them off, just it can really ruin the adhesive that they have on here. If these don't want to stick back on, what you can do is, you can go pick up replacements at, a craft store would probably have something like that that you can use here. Everything's back together, and again, no controller ports. Let's test it out. So how does this modification work? Well, check out our review of the Yok controller here on the channel, because unbeknownst to anyone who was watching that video at the time, I had actually installed the receiver dongle inside my SNES Classic. It worked like a champ, and as you can see right here, I've got nothing on the outside. I did not notice any increase in latency or resistance or lag or anything like that. It worked just fine. It's a great way to do it, and it looks, man, I love this look a hell of a lot more than having those dongles stick out. And it wasn't bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't terrible before, but this is such a cleaner look to it. The one piece of advice is if you do this and you use the 8-bit DOE controllers that have the sync button on them, do not use those controllers for anything else, because you'll have to reopen up your system anytime that you repair to that dongle. So a little piece of advice there. Other than that, I mean, I love the way that it looks now. It looks great. It functions perfectly, and something that I definitely wish I would have done sooner. The Yok controller worked great. There's no real shortage of range due to being inside the casing here. You figure it's got to broadcast and receive through a piece of plastic anyways, through what the dongle is normally housed in. With the Mini Boss from Nyko, same basic thing. It worked terrifically. So something I would highly recommend you doing if you want to have a little bit cleaner look to your Super NES Classic Edition. But those are just my opinions. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments what you think of this modification. It's really simple to do, and I think it makes your system look a hell of a lot better. You can also email us at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. Make sure that you visit us on Twitter too, at Rock Solid Studios, and Facebook at Rock Solid Productions. If you do want to contribute to the future of Rock Solid Productions, you can do so. Just go ahead and visit us on Patreon at patreon.com/rocksolid. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support the channel. Another thing you can do if you like supporting content creators on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube Red. What that does, first of all, is it eliminates commercials for you. Second of all, more of the money goes directly to content creators versus going towards the advertisers. So it's a win-win there for content creators for you to subscribe to YouTube Red. Definitely want to check it out. It's a great mod. I love it. It's easy to replicate and duplicate, and I highly recommend you do it to your Super NES Classic as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.